Playback in Digifort is very easy and intuitive. All you have to do is right click on the image of the camera that you want to playback, and you're gonna have the playback options in this section here. Some options might not be available, like the Edge Media Playback. This option here allows you to play back directly from the recordings inside the SD card of the camera or the hard drive of the DVR or NVR that you have integrated inside Digifort. So let's do a single camera playback here. Right click on the image, single camera. Here you already have a few quick shortcuts. So I want to view an image from 30 minutes ago. Right, now I have the playback from this camera. I have my timeline. If I want to do a playback from all these cameras that I have on the screen, all I have to do is media playback, multiple cameras, 15 minutes ago. Now I have my player. As you can see, the player is a standalone window that you can drag and drop to another monitor to keep working on the live view alongside with the player. You also have the object links on the images. This is a very nice feature. Check it out, the video on this feature that allows you to follow a suspect across cameras, just like this. You can also play back from the objects list. So I can just right click on a camera, for example, camera 41, media playback, 15 minutes ago. So, and I don't even need the camera to be here on the on screen. So I can just play back directly from here. If I want, I can also play back directly from a saved view. So for example, this view here, I can play back 30 minutes ago, and I have all my cameras. So you see, it's very easy to access the recordings of the cameras using the surveillance client. If you want to replace the camera here or add more cameras, all you have to do is drag and dropping the camera from the list to the player. So let's get the camera 40, and I'll replace this camera over here. Now it's these recordings are synchronized. When you add a new camera, it will start synchronized with the video. On the player, you also have the camera selection menu that allows you to add or change the cameras from the player itself. So let's say we are gonna add the camera 4 to the playback. So you can either do from the list by adding here, or from within the player. So very flexible. We have a lot of options to playback. Digifort Media Player has many tools to help you find that event you're looking for. Let's go through some features of the media player. So here you have, for example, the camera selections feature, which allows you to select which cameras you're going to play back. Remember that you can also drag and drop a camera from the main list of the software. But you just have to drag and drop the camera to, let me remove this camera and I'll drop it again here. You can also drag and drop a camera that you are viewing on the live list, on the live panel, to the player, and you're going to see the playback of that camera. So very flexible. We have a video showing how to access the playback. Don't forget to check that out. Here you have your timeline where you see the tracks of being recorded. You have video tracks, you can have audio tracks, you can have metadata tracks. For example, for this camera over here, we have analytics metadata being recorded. That's this camera that you're seeing all the metadata here of the analytics. of which you can select, for example, the handler to not render the zones or not render the objects at all, or the object classification or details. You have many options for the metadata information that you wanna that can be shown here. The media player also allows digital zoom by using the mouse or the joystick control. That can be useful for those 360 cameras with dewarping that you can also dewarp on during the playback. So this control will allow you to do that. Here you have the audio control. So if you have cameras with audio being recorded, you just select the camera and the audio will select the camera for playback, the audio control, and you're going to start hearing to that selected camera. Here you have a tool for motion search. The motion search will do a search on the recorded images for motion. So when you select that tool, you can create an area of the image to search for motion. So let's search for motion on this camera 3. I'll pause here, select camera 3, and then to make it faster, you can select keyframes only. So motion detection will only be performed on the keyframes. Now, when you do that, here you have your timeline being populated with the motion from that camera, and then you can play back only the motion detection, and you can skip parts of which you don't have motion. The thumbnails feature is also a very interesting feature, of which you can divide and get thumbnails from different time intervals. So for example, let's get this camera that we see people getting into. I'll select an interval of 30 seconds, and now you have a small snapshot of these camera. If you want, you can click here and it goes directly to that point in time. So thumbnails, you can select the search type. It could be either time slice or bookmarks. Here we have some bookmarks, for example, entrance and exit bookmarks, suspect entering premises, suspects warning, all cameras. These bookmarks were created, and if I click in here, play, now I get into the exact position of that bookmark. Media exporting, it allows you to export this video. We have a specific video for media exporting. Sequence exporting, it's a very interesting feature that allows you to combine the power of object links to the exporting. Please check out the video on sequence exporting. You cannot miss this feature. This is a very nice addition to our system. Print, where you can print an image of the playback and add some operator notes. So for example, suspect here. And if you don't select any camera, you're gonna have the picture of all cameras which you can print. You have your report authentication here, and image filters. On the image filters, you can select the camera and apply some filters to change. Try to improve the image quality. Default. On the playback, you can play back forward, you can play back backward using these controls over here. You can speed up the player for forward or backward. You can also jump in time using these two over here. So these two will allow you to jump, for example, a minute over, going forward or a minute going backward. And you can change the time by using the slider here. So if you slide it forward, you're gonna increase to minutes, or if you slide backward, you're gonna slide to seconds. This is very important if you want to jump quickly between like every 2 minutes, every 1 minute forward to see a quick peek of what happened, or backward. You can also change that for bookmark. So now it's going to skip through the bookmarks. See my timeline moving through my 3 bookmarks. With Digifort, you can leverage the power of edge recording devices, not only for self-healing feature that we support. That's the feature that will download a missing footage. For example, if a server crashes or restarts, then whenever the server is back online, it will downloading the missing footage from the cameras. If the cameras are recording locally on an SD card, for example. But not only that, you can use the edge recording feature of Digifort to play back directly from the recordings from the device. And we do support edge recording not only for cameras with SD cards, but we can also get playback from DVRs or NVRs that are integrated with the system, and with these feature integrated. So I'm gonna show a playback from these cameras. So both of these cameras, they have the edge recording activated. So I can right click on the image, select Edge Media Playback. So if I just select Media Playback, it will play back directly from the server. So if I do that, it is just the regular playback, but I can select Edge Media Playback 5 minutes ago, for example. Now it's downloaded from the camera, and now I'm viewing directly from the camera. So if I just zoom in here, you're gonna see that these images are being downloaded from the camera itself directly. Okay, and it integrates natively in the system in a way that I can even see the thumbnails from the Edge playback as well. I can export, I can do sequence exporting, printing, image filters. I can do everything that I can do on the native playback. I can also do with the Edge playback. I can also play back these 2 cameras simultaneously, bringing the image from the Edge. So that's Edge playback, multiple cameras. That's all the cameras on the screen. So I'll get 30 minutes ago. Now I'm getting images from these 2 cameras from the Edge, as you can see here, the Edge recording. Okay, and these cameras also from the Edge recording. So I can do the thumbnails and select whatever camera I want, the interval of 10 seconds, for example, or this camera, and click on the camera and go directly to that spot that I selected on the thumbnail. And I can also export natively, export to MP4. You can actually use and leverage the power of the Edge recording as your main recording storage, or as a backup. You can use either way. For example, if you have a DVR, you don't even have to record on Digifort server. You can just keep the recordings on the DVR or the NVR, and you can live view those devices, and you can also play back from these devices. So these will make the Edge recording feature a very powerful feature in Digifort. So I'm gonna show the instant rewind feature that was asked for our development. So basically, the instant rewind feature is a very quick way to review an incident that the operator just saw. So just right click and it's this first option here. The software is in Portuguese, but obviously you're gonna get it in English. So for example, that car just passed and I want to see what happened, Joe. Just right click, instant playback, and I'll see the car coming backward. Okay, so the instant rewind actually starts the playback from the moment that you click, and it plays backward from that moment. Okay, so it starts backward, so you can see what happened. It goes back, and then you can go forward. And since you have the player, you have all the features of the player. So new recordings are still taking place. As you can see that the timeline is increasing. So you can just keep playing the video forward, or just go back and see whatever um, the event was. So very easy, very quick. Just right click, first option, that's gonna be instant rewind, and then the video starts playing backward. Okay, as you can see that card that just passed is going backward now. Here you can configure the instant review behavior. So if you select, for example, last 10 seconds, whenever you do the instant review, it's gonna open with the last 10 seconds prior to that event, and it's gonna start playing forward from that point in time. It's very easy to export a footage of video using the Digiforte Media Player. All you have to do, first you select your the time in your timeline that you want to export. So let's say I want to get these events here. I'll select these with my right mouse button. I drag and I select the time that I want. Then on media exporting, you're gonna see that the time is already selected, or you can either enter it manually here. You can select which cameras you want the system to export. Maybe you don't want to export all these 4 cameras, so you just select which cameras you want the system to export, and you select the format of exporting. So you can select native, MP4, AVI, or JPEG. On either format, there is a very interesting feature that's limit the media size. Let's say you're exporting the media to a pen drive or a DVD, and obviously that media is limited in size, but you can select this option here, and the system will automatically split the exported media on the size that you select. So if you're exporting and recording the exported footage, for example, in a DVD, you can select 4 gigabytes here. And then if your export exceeds 4 gigabytes, the system will automatically create different medias. So you can save and those medias into the into your physical DVD, for example, without having to go into the hassle of exporting just a chunk of video and then exporting the next chunk of video. The system will do that automatically for you, and it will export all the cameras synchronized, so you don't have to worry into getting like different files or anything. Everything will be very neat, organized for you. If you select the native exporting option, the system will also include this player that you're seeing here with the exported footage. So you're going to get all the executable files and your exported data, bookmarks. If you have bookmarks, they will also be added to the media player, the exported player. You click export, you just select which drive you wanted to export, and you click OK. Here you have a few options that you can add to the exported data. So you have the company name, you have the person who's responsible for exporting, and a description. So for example, suspect broke into the house. You can also protect the exported data with cryptography. So when you select that, you have to provide a password, which will be used to encrypt the exported video. And the only way to review this video later on is to provide the password back. So when you open the player, it's going to ask for the password. And you can also add a watermark to the exported image. This watermark, what it does is it will add this text that you, whatever text you put in here, into the exported images. That will allow you to, for example, identify the source, the origin of that image. So we're gonna hit OK, and the system now started exporting the video. It's very quick to export a chunk of video. All the cameras are being exported simultaneously. All the tracks are being exported as well. If you have analytics tracks, if you have audio tracks, everything is being exported. So the export is done. It asks if we want to open the exported media folder. We're going to open the folder. Here we have the exported media, and you have the player. You have all the information that you provided during the exporting, and you have the footage, including the bookmarks. And because you have the full featured player here, from the exported data, you can even do a thumbnail search or a motion search, or you can even re-export that video. Let's say because you have the native player, you can re-export it in MP4, or you can make a JPEG exporting. Also, all the frames in JPEG will be exported, or you can print or apply image filters. You have the whole power of Digifort Media Player into the exported video. This is a very good, very powerful way to work with your data. The sequence exporting feature allows you to export a footage using object links to follow a subject, for example. So I'll export a footage of this subject getting into the premises because I want to handle this evidence over to someone. So I'll hit start on the sequence exporting here, and I'll play. Now, whatever I do, whatever cameras I change is gonna be reproduced on the exporting as well. So I can click here to keep following the person. I can actually hold shift and add another camera here. So everything I do is being recorded and will be played back exactly the way I am doing on the exporting as well. So if I get this camera from, I know the subject's going to go upstairs, I can get this camera here and drag and drop to this spot here. Now I have the camera just to follow the person. So he's going to go upstairs, that other person is going down, and I don't lose anything. I can still keep seeing all the cameras. I don't necessarily have to replace the camera. I can just drag and drop the link, or hold shift and click, and it will open on an empty space. Okay, now I hit stop and export. Select here, okay. Now my sequence is being exported, and whenever I play back, it will show exactly the way that I recorded. Exporting is done. I'll open the folder here, media. I have the player, and I start the sequence. So now the standalone player will reproduce exactly what was done. I don't have to click or anything. It will just reproduce whatever I did when the sequence exporting was being recorded. So it changed to another camera. Now it should populate another camera on the screen. And if I navigate through the timeline, so if I go a little bit forward, it changes to exactly how it was. So here on the beginning it was just one camera, a little bit forward 2 cameras, and 3 and 4. So whenever I change, it also changes the cameras here to follow exactly what was done while recording. This feature actually exports the whole footage from all cameras used during the exporting. So I can open the player and start normally, and it will actually show all the cameras here. Now it's not following the script, but it's showing every camera, the playback from every camera. And that's the sequence exporting.